The North American annular eclipse, October 14th, 2023. I'd seen that it was going to go across the southwest part of the United States. I looked at this map online and checked out the path. I'm still not really sure exactly what happens on the edges. The annular eclipse was completely visible well outside these boundaries on the outside, but I was looking at this thinking I should get right in the middle of the path of the annular eclipse as it goes right over the Four Corners area there. It heads into New Mexico. Albuquerque is right in the middle of the path, and where I'm staying in Los Alamos is over kind of on the edge. So I decided I should get closer to the middle, but rather than go to Albuquerque, I'll start in White Rock and I'll drive out into the Navajo lands and end up in Whitehorse. I've never been on that road before. That should be about where the center of the path is, maybe get the longest version of the annular eclipse. But I didn't plan too much, so I was thinking I was going to get there just in time for the annular part, but the eclipse kind of starts a lot earlier, meaning I had to get up a lot earlier, and I was really not able to get up as early as I wanted to. It almost made me go to Albuquerque instead, which would have been half the distance to drive. Here we got the San Miguel Mountains and the Ortiz Mountains behind them as the sun comes up, driving up into the Jemez Mountains on NM State Road 4. Driving through Jemez Springs and the Jemez River Valley, just as the sun comes up and starts to hit the upper walls, the western walls of the Jemez River Valley. Turning off of NM State Road 4, heading westward now, up toward Cuba, but we're not going to go all the way to Cuba. We're going to turn into the Navajo lands towards San Luis up here pretty soon. Cabezon Peak, after we've turned off well into the Navajo lands now. So I finally got to the place where I was going to view. Drove through Whitehorse. There was nothing there. Looked for the next place I could kind of pull off the side of the road, and it really wasn't much of a place. Just a little place where I could park the car. I tried to set up all the things I had planned so not carefully for different ways of observing and recording the eclipse. I had the pinhole camera and the GoPro with the eclipse filter on the car. I had a mirror box reflecting off of a mirror with a pinhole. I had eclipse glasses for watching. I had a binocular box for casting or projecting the image, but I didn't really set that up in any good way. October 14th, about 11 a.m., out here near Whitehorse, New Mexico, Sandoval County on the Navajo Nation. The eclipse is still partial going on, but the moon has completely traversed the sun. So a little view of my setup here on this beautiful pullout on what is a nice paved highway through Torreon and Whitehorse, but not a lot of big parking lots or public places. So I have my chair here, my guitar. I got this thing. While it's still partial, I didn't really film this because I am not organized enough in any way, but There you go. I had a little easier time finding the crescent when I wasn't holding a You can make a nice image though with the binoculars. These are cheap binoculars, cheap guitar. The glasses that I was looking at on occasion. I got some time lapse here that I hope worked off this mirror with a pinhole. Oh yeah, let me just project in there. Wait, where is it? It was here until it may have moved just slightly. Oh, you can't block the sun either. So it's over there, back there in the back. Just see the little bit. And I was time-lapsing that. Hopefully that came out visible.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames reached higher, and they burn, burn, burn. That ring of fire, that ring of fire. Don't let your heart get broken by this world. Don't let your heart get broken. At the bottom of the ocean you might find a pearl. Don't let your heart get broken by this world.
I had this weird idea that I could maybe use one of the cameras off the windshield and off this frame. I did that for a little while. It seemed like it wasn't going to work. I got my green drink, and these things are still filming. I put the eclipse glasses over the GoPro. May or may not be doing something. And here's my camera obscura pinhole thing, which may or may not be getting an image. Check all those later.
The classic way of making a eclipse viewer or a camera obscura to catch a little image. I don't know, I didn't try that hard. Maybe my pinhole wasn't that good, or maybe it was too dark inside, so the pinhole let in enough light with no other light at all, but there's no shape to it at all. I was a bit disappointed that when I did finally recover this photography, which had been time-lapsing in a closed box, I closed it off. I didn't stick my head in and see what the image looked like. So I do have an image of the sun moving throughout the 2 hours that this was recording, but no shape of the eclipse whatsoever. Not sure what the problem was. Need to consult a camera obscura expert.
And the trusty car. It's now about 10 after 11. It's been half an hour since the complete annular eclipse, and I'm going to take off, head back. We're like 3 hours away, and I was barely able to get myself up to get out at 6:30, and I was very unorganized with all my gear. Pretty awesome, but hopefully at least something came out.
And one of the last things I did was slap the eclipse glasses over the lens of my iPhone just to make sure I got some images, although the annular was long gone. And then it was time to drive back. But I didn't want to go back the same way. I wanted to make a big loop. So this is somewhere between Whitehorse and Thoreau. That's Thoreau, New Mexico. I'm not sure if this is before or after passing through Crown Point. I really just can't remember when I took this, but it's hard to remember when there's beautiful scenery on all New Mexico roads, anywhere you go. Back on Interstate 40, driving east toward Albuquerque.
Darkened skies in the daytime, a storm pours down from the heavens over unknown fields. Past the tall gray towers on the outskirts of town, waiting for this land to be revealed. Waiting for that big sun to shine, watching for the light at the end of the line. Another gazing out a moving window through the pouring rain. Another train, another train, another train.
Parking lot and headed off to Houston when their payoff. The brake lights temporarily fixed in loops of black electrical tape. I watch as the truck disappears. It looks like every other piece of now broken down equipment we've ever owned. Rusting, miserable, and totally criminal. Mom and I turned south, back to Brownsville. Mom is her usual quiet self, except this time she